You know, one of the things that I think most people associate, and they can understand it with the challenges they have in their business and their life and their abundance and even their health, has to do with subconscious programming. So let's have a little subconscious discussion here. It's been a while since we've had one of these. Your subconscious mind means that all the things below your level of current consciousness. Okay, so it's subconscious and unconscious, and those are two different things. I'm not going to break those two things down. For our intents and purposes today, we're just going to understand that you've got a conscious brain, and your conscious brain is what you're watching this with. Your conscious brain is what you have conversations with. Your conscious brain is how you do your work, how you drive, right? Now, that being said, your conscious brain is only 5%. 5% of your entire brain. So that means 95% is under your level of awareness. Now, I'm not going to split hairs, but I do want to let you know that there are times when you may zone out. Like, have you ever picked up your phone and just went to look at one thing, and then all of a sudden you're 15 videos deep on TikTok? That was when your subconscious sort of took over and you were in that alpha hypnotic state. Or if you're binge watching Suits and all of a sudden you've watched 3 episodes and you're like, where did the time go? That was a little bit of your subconscious kicking in. But that's not what I'm talking about here. That's just a reduced brainwave. But what I really want to make sure you understand is that the 95% that is under your conscious level of awareness, we're going to just call the unconscious, the subconscious. Now, if you consciously want something, and I'm just going to use weight loss, and I don't like the term loss because our brain intuitively doesn't like to lose things. So I use the word with my clients who want to release some weight. I say, let's release weight. Let's not lose it, because the brain is automatically going to go, no, we're going to hold on to it. But let's use that for an example. Let's say you want to release 25 pounds because, hey, it's almost the end of June. It's bikini season, right? Well, for people who are young enough to wear bikinis. Anyway, you want to release 20 pounds, 25 pounds. And consciously, you super seriously want to lose this weight. You're going to go with another couple or with a group of girls or whatever to a beach party, and you want to get a new bathing suit and you want to look great. So that's your extrinsic driver. That's your motivation. Like, I need to fit in a bikini or a bathing suit in 4 weeks, and I need to lose some weight. Again, release weight. But what happens after that? Because you know, as well as I do, that if you want to release 20 pounds, it's not rocket science. You need to take in fewer calories than you expend, and you need to increase your expenditure of calories through movement, through weightlifting, through walking, through cardio. It's even more simple than the manifestation technique that I teach. So if that's the answer for how to get the slim, trim body that you want, what is the problem? It's called self-sabotage. And we humans do it all the time. We are constantly self-sabotaging. So one of my main missions in life, and you know, my whole background, which I'm not going to bore you with, so don't worry, but my whole background, starting as a hypnotherapist 27 years ago, my whole background has been dedicated to helping people break through their self-limiting beliefs, which always has to do with their unconscious programming, 100% of the time. From wanting a bigger, better business, to healing a disease, to attracting a mate, to whatever it is that you want, that you say you consciously want, but you do not have it. Are you with me so far? Okay. Whatever it is you say that you want, and in our scenario, we're saying to release weight, and it's not happening. And I don't mean, let's manifest it in 5 minutes. It's a process. It would be unhealthy for you to release weight 20 pounds in 2 weeks, unless you had food poisoning, right? And then let's not forget the category of people who go get their stomach stapled, or who get shots, or take pills. No judgment. I'm not throwing shade on those people or those industries, but what I'm saying is it's our human design to want to find shortcuts. And it's really very simple. Remember, you take in less calories and you spend more calories. But we don't want that. We want the fast things. And then the fast things, of course, always have side effects, and then we're back to square one. Or the side effects caused us big problems. I know a few people that had their stomach stapled that have really big problems as a result. So this isn't a weight loss talk, but I want you to really get self-sabotage. So if you consciously want something and you're not even on the road to having it, and so what on the road to having it would be, like, let's say you get your real estate license and you're a new agent and you're super excited and you have this $250,000 income goal. It's not going to happen in 5 minutes. But if you're taking the inspired action and you're doing the manifestation process, meaning your mindset and your energy are in the right place, you're going to start to see signs that this intention is coming true, right? You're going to get a comment from your mother who says, oh, by the way, my neighbors are selling. Do you want me to give them your name? Or someone calls you on one of your office's listings and you have floor time and you're like, yeah, I'll do it. You're going to see sign posts along the way. So that's good. What I'm talking about with self-sabotage is, and we'll use the real estate as an example, is that you say you want a booming business, but instead of holding open houses and making friends on Facebook and going to networking events and maybe sending some flyers in your farm area, you're sitting at home in your baggy sweats, the ones, with your Doritos and your binge watching Suits, right? That's self-sabotage. With the releasing weight example, self-sabotage looks like, I really, really am going to lose weight. I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to have salad every night for dinner, and I'm going to cut down to 1 glass of wine. I'm a realist. I mean, let's get realistic. Who's going to cut wine completely out? Not me. So you're going to consciously make that agreement. And maybe you have an accountability buddy or your spouse or your partner, right? Let's do it. We're going to do this. And what you're using is your motivation that you want to look good in a bathing suit in 2 or 3 weeks. So you got motivation, you got accountability, and you got a plan. What happens? Well, when the alarm goes off to go to the gym, you hit the snooze button a couple times, and then you remember there's this one thing you have to do, so you don't go to the gym. And someone in the office brings snickerdoodles, and you're so hungry because all you had for breakfast was an orange and a cup of tea. And then you go by Taco Bell on the way home, and you're like, God, I already blew it today. I'll just start again tomorrow. So you get yourself a bean burrito or 2, and then you get home, and boy, does that wine look good. And I may be exaggerating, but then am I really? Because we have all done something similar to this. We have all been guilty of self-sabotage. But the first thing I want to do is remove the word guilt. You're not guilty of anything. In fact, your unconscious is brilliant. How do I mean? Because if you were 100% online with, I want to release this weight, your unconscious would have it done in 3 weeks. One of the first challenges, and then we're going to get into the real, what I call the juice of it. If your unconscious was all on board, you wouldn't need accountability. You wouldn't need the event to look good in your bathing suit. If looking good and fit and slim was one of your highest values, you wouldn't need any of that. External motivation never causes internal drive. Remember that. External motivation never causes internal drive. Your internal drive is always going to be based on your values. And we're not going to, this is not a values conversation. I do values videos often. So just look in the other videos and you can see what I mean when I say values. But with self-sabotage, what's happening is that the 95% of your brain that's below the level of awareness wants something different. That's all self-sabotage is. Nothing to feel guilty about. Just know that your unconscious is 100% working very, very well. It's just that it has a greater, stronger reason for not wanting you to have what your conscious wants you to have. So consciously, you want to drop 20 pounds, release 20 pounds, right? But unconsciously, there's, and I'm just being hypothetical, maybe there's a voice that says, you'll never be as pretty as the other girls, or you need to have that extra weight on you to keep you protected, because remember what happened when you were in 7th grade and your uncle walked in on you? I'm being hypothetical here. I don't want to trigger anyone. But by and large, there's an unconscious reason that the weight has not been released. And this applies to men too. It can either be a shield to protect you. It can be an unworthiness. It can be, I mean, I had a client once who held onto weight because she didn't want her older sister to feel bad for being obese. That sounds really super crazy, but the unconscious brain, the unconscious mind, has a mind of its own, and it doesn't think in a linear, conscious, logical way. It operates by lessons and interpretations it learned when you were from pre-birth to the time you were about 7 years old, and then you kept attracting and manifesting and experiencing the same kinds of things over and over again. So those ideas and interpretations became solidified, and they became neural networks that now are just automatic. So there's a part of you consciously, this 5%, that's like, oh, I would love to look good in that bathing suit. But unconsciously, 95% of you is saying, you can't, you shouldn't, you better not, it's not safe. That is the crux. That is the foundation of self-sabotage, is this little part of your brain fighting with this big part. It's like David and Goliath. David and Goliath. So what happened in David and Goliath? In David and Goliath, David got himself a stone and a slingshot, and he took that giant down. And you can do that too. And I'm going to tell you, this is not like you have to come have a session with me. I'm going to tell you about my summer sale with sessions, but I'm going to tell you what you can do. And you don't need to have a session with me unless you want the support and the other things that I do that I can help you with a single session. But here's what you do. You get yourself a piece of paper and you write down whatever it is you want. I don't care if it's creating more wealth or releasing weight or whatever it is you want. And pick something easy until you get the hang of this, because I guarantee you this works. This is absolutely profound. And this is things that I've learned from Dr. John Martini over the years. Who else? My brain. Oh, Robert Fritz from The Path of Least Resistance. and my own background in psychology and subconscious studies and neuroscience and hypnotherapy. So this is a hodgepodge of it, but it works. It works, it works, it works. So write down on the top of the paper what it is that you consciously want. And then make yourself a couple of columns. And in the first column, I want you to write down 50 reasons, 50 benefits. So you're going to title it benefits. And then you're going to put 50 of them down. Maybe you start out with 25. But if you want to really disrupt the pattern in your brain, that neural network that's been in there for, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, it takes repetition. And with repetition comes remyelination. And your sheath, you have a white sheath, your myelin sheath in your brain, and that's the electrical current for all your neurons. And if you will do something repetitively, and if you add emotion to it, it happens even faster. Okay, so get excited and talk about the 25 or 50 benefits of that weight releasing. Okay, just get excited about it. Look it in your bathing suit, looking in the mirror. Oh my God. Okay, then in the next column, this is where the rubber meets the road. I want you to title it drawbacks. And I want you to come up with just as many drawbacks to releasing that weight as you did for the benefits. And you're going to say, Tamara, you're crazy. There's no drawbacks. If I drop 20 pounds, I'm going to be so happy. And you're only answering that and saying that from your conscious brain. Your unconscious knows, because if it didn't, if it agreed with you, you wouldn't even need to talk about, I want to release weight or I want to build my business. Your unconscious is what's keeping you from having what you want. And I don't know of any psychologist, therapist, gurus, manifestation teachers, social experts, sociology experts, human development experts. I don't know of anybody who hasn't been infatuated in those realms with understanding how to help someone change an unconscious belief. That's what all of us in this industry, in my industry of personal development, that's the golden goose. That is the fountain of youth right there. That is the thing. And I thought I found it 30 years ago, 28 years ago, whatever, when I started studying psychology and hypnotherapy. Because with hypnosis, you do relax the prefrontal cortex, the conscious brain, and you do start to activate things. But there's more to it than that. And so this is one way that you can really, really make this difference. So you're going to come up with as many drawbacks, and you're going to say, I can't think of any drawbacks to dropping 20 pounds, to releasing 20 pounds. Think harder. What would happen? Would more people of the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever way you roll, I don't care, would they be attracted to you? Would that make you uncomfortable? Would you have to buy all new clothes? Would your partner want to have sex more? Would you feel uncomfortable around your teenage son? I mean, our unconscious mind has an absolute reason for every single thing. But to our conscious mind, it may not make sense. So you really have to do this work, and you have to do both columns at the same time. You have to really do this work when you're in a relaxed state of mind, so that you can allow your memories to go back. What do you associate being a certain size with? What would change in your life? Was there ever a time in your life where you were the perfect size? What bad things happened? So you go back. If you've got 25 on this list of benefits, you come up with 25 drawbacks. And then once you've done that, and you've got to do it all in the same sitting. So I always say take 30 minutes, maybe an hour to get this done. And then make a list of, because you're going to see that the drawbacks are things that are not logical, but you haven't been aware of them because they've been unconscious. And then you make a list of, the 10 things that I can do today, or the 5 things I can do today that can bring me to this. And we're going to focus on the benefits, right? But you've got to bring those unconscious thoughts to the surface. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, let's see, I always mess this up. The unconscious, we call the unconscious fate. Until the unconscious becomes conscious, we call it fate. Like, I just never can meet a nice guy, or my business just can't grow. There's a part of you, an unconscious part of you, that is trying to keep you safe. And the sooner you can get down to that, the better off you are. So again, if you need assistance with that and you want support, and of course I do more, I do, my frequency work, and we go deeper, and I am a great guide to help you with this. Whatever it is in your life that's holding you back, I don't even care what category it falls into. It doesn't have to be about sales or real estate. It can be about health, it can be about anything. But until you make those unconscious thoughts conscious, you're always going to have challenges in the area of life that challenges you the most. So hopefully you found this me rambling on helpful, and I would love to hear from you. And the link is below if you'd like to schedule even a 15-minute time to have a phone call or a Zoom call and see if we can work together. And then the single sessions are on sale probably for the next 30 to 40 days. And I only do a one time, one session at this price. Okay, have a great day.